Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Marc Bilodeau, co-founder of Plixer, and someone who loves this industry. I love data, and I love Plixer itself. Today, for my part, I want to address two questions. For existing customers, is Scrutinizer going away? And for everyone, why Plixer One? And to get to these answers, I want to jump to a few points in Plixer's 26-year history. Don't worry, I'm only going to jump to a handful of moments instead of droning on about the entire 26 years. But what a wild ride it was, and it still is for that matter. So let's go back in time first. So on November 14th, 2005, Scrutinizer 2.1.0 was released, the first version. You might ask yourself why the first version was 2.1.0. Well, that's because who takes a 1.0 seriously, right? Anyways, for those who are not familiar with Scrutinizer, Scrutinizer collects NetFlow and provides visibility into activity on your network. 20 years later, it still does this and a lot more. But in 2005, people used SNMP a lot more than flows. For those not familiar, SNMP gives you a snapshot in time. You have to pull for the information. So SNMP tools had scheduled events every minute or 5 minutes to pull thousands of SNMP stats from the network to get visibility. But NetFlow shows near real-time activity on the network. So for example, instead of knowing how many total bytes have gone through an interface with SNMP, NetFlow could tell you which IPs, ports, protocols that were causing that traffic, like how much HTTP and SSH were on the network, or unsecure ones like FTP and Telnet, which your network admins told you were turned off completely. Truly, though, NetFlow was breakthrough in network visibility over SNMP. For Plixer, NetFlow, IPFix, and telemetry data became our passion, and we funneled that energy into Scrutinizer development for years to come. As more time passed, Plixer supported more vendors. In many cases, we were only one who supported experimental flows and IPFix templates from vendors like Cisco, Palo Alto, and SonicWall. Because of our flexible architecture, we could and still can support new flow elements easily. In fact, as of today, we support over 9,400 elements from dozens of vendors. We include specialized reports from 57 different vendors and bundle 710 reports into the product. If we don't have a specific canned report that you're looking for, you can create it on your own. Scrutinizer was and easy to install. All you had to do is point your flows to it, and had deep visibility into your network activity. Many other vendors who provided similar solutions to Scrutinizer at the time, and even today, only ingest the minimum flow data elements or use packet header information to provide good enough visibility. And that's a mistake. I won't go into that here why, but we could have a whole webinar on that particular topic. All right, now let's jump to 2012 when Plixer introduced the Replicator. So the market was rapidly evolving, and many more devices were capable of sending flow telemetry. Broadly speaking, organizations were adopting tools to help provide deeper network visibility and to detect odd behaviors in malware. Plixer was doing some of these things with Scrutinizer, but there were other tools customers was using, and they needed those flows. To do that, they had to send the flows from multiple locations to multiple collectors. Sounds simple enough, but there was a big problem. The issue was that many flow exporters, such as routers and switches, were limited to the number of collectors they could send those flows to. Most were two destinations, and many were just one. In fact, you can still find this limitation today. But Replicator solved this problem by replicating UDP traffic, such as NetFlow, IPFix, and syslogs. It could replicate any UDP traffic from all servers and network devices to any number of collectors, such as your SIM, Scrutinizer, and other applications that needed the data. Replicator gave admins the control to redirect UDP traffic on the fly. I recently read a report that said some companies had over 70 network and security tools. 70. That's crazy. Now, let's take a moment for that to sink in. How much overlap there must be and how much money could be saved by consolidating them into a single robust solution. But for those organizations, for some reason, who need that many tools, you can believe that many of those tool solutions need the same network traffic to function properly. So, a replicator is perfect for replicating the traffic to each of them. It's also a great standalone product. It never and still doesn't require Scrutinizer to replicate traffic. In fact, it's included in Plixer One, but we'll get to that. So let's move on to 2014. So at this time, Plixer introduced distributed architecture. Users could purchase additional Scrutinizer collectors and have them work together. This allowed customers to scale up and ingest millions of flows per second and have access to all that data in a single pane of glass. At this point, Scrutinizer also had algorithms that provide deeper insight into traffic patterns and could detect malware, which benefited both NetOps and SecOps teams. For customer demand, we started embracing more SecOps driven features since we were already had a lot of that metadata about the network. And to our NetOps focused folks, it kept them in the know because NetOps and SecOps were largely siloed teams. In a lot of cases, they still are today. It's a good thing, though, our solution is robust enough for both sides of the house, regardless if they work together in the same department or not. Anyways, our algorithms could look deeper into flow traffic and detect abnormal behavior outside of what was the industry standard, which was largely threshold-based notifications and baselining. In short, Scrutinizer was and is a robust solution for both NetOps and SecOps teams because of its rich functionality and that it could be scaled with the organization. So now, if we jump ahead a couple more years into our history, Scrutinizer and Replicator can now be deployed in high availability. Scrutinizer with primary and secondary reporters and multiple collectors, replicators with primary and separate secondary appliances. On top of that, the product portfolio expanded again. Even as more vendors started supporting flows, not all of them did. There were still dark spots on the network. So we released a new product called FlowPro. A FlowPro could be deployed to provide visibility where there was none, either because the network hardware didn't support the flows or it was an isolated part of the network. All a user had to do was span the traffic to the FlowPro and it would send flow data back to Scrutinizer. Not only would FlowPro provide visibility where there was none, but it also could provide layer 7 application data, round trip time, jitter, client server latency, and more. It could also detect data infiltration, command and control activity, and other anomalous traffic patterns. It came in two flavors: the FlowPro APM, which stands for Application Performance Monitoring, and FlowPro Defender. Organizations can purchase one or more FlowPro and deploy them in strategic areas of their network to maximize visibility and detection. Our flow pros even worked with other collectors, but those collectors wouldn't be able to take advantage of the additional NetOps and SecOps functionality. So if we fast forward 4 more years to 2020, where we again expanded our product portfolio. So in 2019, Plixer acquired Great Base Software, which expanded our network visibility with the introduction of an endpoint analytics. EA provided deep visibility and tighter control over network endpoints, such as PCs, mobile devices, VMs, and IoT devices. This helped organizations track their assets, address security and compliance concerns, and help mitigate certain risks. By adding endpoint metadata, Plixer is able to use that context to provide greater visibility over the network. Not only could you see endpoints were sending traffic, you could see details about the endpoints that couldn't get from flow data. Also in 2020, Plixer introduced its first version of its ML engine, which expanded our ability to seasonally baseline the network and look at data in multiple dimensions and classifications. This greatly improved our detection and response capabilities and reduced those false positives, a common complaint from NetOps and SecOps teams. Even to this day, we continue to refine and improve alerts with each release as our ML/AI engine becomes more advanced. Yes, I said AI, and it's a term that's run out a little too much, in my opinion. But our roadmap has some exciting stuff about real AI capabilities, but that's a topic for another webinar. And that leads us to today. I mention all of this because it shows Plixer's evolution, providing deep observability and defense for your network environment on-prem and in the cloud. You'll learn more about Plixer One in a moment, as I don't want to steal thunder from Chantanez, but I will say this. Plixer One combines our entire product portfolio into two separate offerings, Plixer One Core and Plixer One Enterprise. It provides more flexibility to customers for deploying and scaling. For example, you no longer have to buy each collector. You can spin up as many as you need. This reduced the cost of investing into Plixer's ecosystem by including multiple products into a single offering. So, for those of you who use Scrutinizer today, is it going away? No. It's the foundation of Plixer One. We spent years developing and refining it. We've been in the industry for 26 years, and we've learned a lot and packed that know-how into our products. Those customers who have many monitoring tools could save money by consolidating them into a Plixer One deployment. And all you have to do to go from Scrutinizer to Plixer One is upgrade Scrutinizer to 19.5, apply a license key, and you can take advantage of everything that Plixer One has to offer. So by embracing Plixer One, each customer has access to their own dedicated team to support them, determine the best strategy to deploy, provide training, and help fulfill their use cases. If you have a technical issue, you can contact support. Plixer One customers have 24/7 access to our team. Need training or have questions about specific use cases? Contact your customer success manager. Have questions about upcoming renewals? You have a dedicated person for that. If you're looking to expand your deployment, your account executive can help. We at Plixer pride ourselves on delivering the best experience possible for our customers. Throughout the years, I've heard many compliments from customers about how awesome our support team is, and I believe it. We all we all want our customers to have that same experience with their own dedicated teams.